Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. A person who grows or makes or invents things. Having unlimited power. Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. Emanating from God. Divine judgment. Appropriate to or befitting a god. The divine strength of Achilles. Being of such surpassing excellence as to suggest inspiration by the gods. Her pies were simply divine. A clergyman or other person in religious orders. Resulting from divine providence. Being or having the nature of a god. The custom of killing the divine king upon any serious failure of his powers. Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. Devoted to or in the service or worship of a deity. Divine worship. Perceive intuitively or through some inexplicable perceptive powers. Search by divining, as if with a rod. He claimed he could divine underground water. Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. A name for the God of the Old Testament as transliterated from the Hebrew consonants YHVH. Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. A titled peer of the realm. A person who has general authority over others. Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. Make a lord of someone. A business engaged in manufacturing some product. Terms referring to the Judeo-Christian God. A person who makes things. Characteristic of or meant for a single person or thing. An individual serving. Being or characteristic of a single thing or person. Individual drops of rain. A human being. Separate and distinct from others of the same kind. Mark the individual pages. Concerning one person exclusively. We all have individual cars. A single organism. The immaterial part of a person. The actuating cause of an individual life. Deep feeling or emotion. A human being. A secular form of gospel that was a major black musical genre in the 1960s and 1970s. Soul was politically significant during the civil rights movement. The human embodiment of something. The soul of honor. A human being. A human being. A human being. There was too much for one person to do. A grammatical category used in the classification of pronouns, possessive determiners, and verb forms according to whether they indicate the speaker, the addressee, or a third party. Stop talking about yourself in the third person. A human body, usually including the clothing. A weapon was hidden on his person. Causing or capable of causing death. Mortal combat. A human being. Involving loss of divine grace or spiritual death. Subject to death. Mortal beings. Unrelenting and deadly. Mortal enemy. The union of the Father and Son and Holy Ghost in one Godhead. The suppression of a gene by the effect of an unrelated gene. Any of the three persons of the Godhead constituting the Trinity, especially the person of Christ in which divine and human natures are united. Metaphysics, essential nature or underlying reality. The accumulation of blood in an organ. The union of the Father and Son and Holy Ghost in one Godhead. Three people considered as a unit. The cardinal number that is the sum of 1 and 1 and 1. The union of the Father and Son and Holy Ghost in one Godhead. The union of the Father and Son and Holy Ghost in one Godhead. Any of the three persons of the Godhead constituting the Trinity, especially the person of Christ in which divine and human natures are united. Someone who creates new things. Someone who designs clothing. A creator of great skill in the manual arts. A creator of great skill in the manual arts. A skilled worker who practices some trade or handicraft. A professional whose work is consistently of high quality. As an actor, he was a consummate craftsman. A person whose creative work shows sensitivity and imagination. Someone who specializes in graphic design. A person who devises plots or intrigues. He is believed to be the principal designer of the terrorist bombing attack. Someone who creates plans to be used in making something, such as buildings. A person who specializes in interior design. Someone who designs clothing. Photographic equipment consisting of a chemical solution for developing film. Someone who develops real estate, especially someone who prepares a site for residential or commercial use. Someone who is the first to think of or make something. Someone who is the first to observe something. A creator of fantasies. A person who operates a farm. An expert on cooking whose cookbook has undergone many editions, 1857 to 1915. United States civil rights leader who in 1942 founded the Congress of Racial Equality, born in 1920. Someone who designs clothing.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.